Log Cabin Quilt Part 2. So we're going to take this and sew them together. So we're gonna sew our 1/4 of an inch. Now you can mark yours if you want. I don't mark mine. I did mark it for the tutorial for Grandmother's Flower Garden, but I'm not gonna mark this because this is just what I'm used to doing. Also, I started my videos and then I had to take these apart. So if you see a bend in the fabric, it's because of the simple fact that I had to restart my videos because it deleted my videos. And so I already had almost the whole log cabin quilt done. So we're just going to sew our 1/4 of an inch all the way down until we get to the end. And then you can, I backstitch about 3 times. You can just backstitch, or you can loop it through. You can bring it down and then take your needle through if you want. There's a piece of these finger needle pullers, they after a while they start tearing apart. So sorry. So you can do that. Just secure it however you secure yours. And so then we cut our threads, and then we've got the first 2 done. Okay, these were cut 2.5 by 2.5. So we're going to, I use my seam presser, press it open. So then our next step, if we go to our paper, we're going to sew C on, which will be this side right here. And so we're always going to go A, B, and then C. So C is cut 2.5 by 4.5 on this pattern, or this one that I'm doing. And so we're just going to sew this together. And so we're always going, is this clockwise? I think this is clockwise. We're moving to the right. Oh, and I didn't have a knot. Hang on a minute. Okay, sorry, I didn't have a knot in my thread. And so we're going to sew our 1/4 of an inch. You can pin this if you want to pin this. To hold it in place sometimes. I just find the shorter blocks, or when the fabric is shorter in my hand, I can hold it better. And I don't have to have pins as long as I pay attention. So we're going to secure it. And so then we'll add block D. Cut our threads. I'm going to press it. I use just the seam presser. You can use a finger press. So we got A, B, C, and then we're going to do D. D is going to go down here. We're going to go clockwise. And so then we're going to, this is going to go here. We're going to sew it to the bottom. I'll flip it around so I can sew it. And then we're going to sew our 1/4 of an inch. Now that it's getting more on here, now's when I will pin. So we're just going to pin it in place. Always remember where A is on the block, and you shouldn't have too much trouble. If you're doing a certain pattern, like you want it to go a certain way, like each block to be different pattern, that gets a little more difficult. I find that that's a little more difficult for me, but it's not hard. It's just you've really got to pay attention. Okay, we're going to sew this our 1/4 of an inch. And this one D was cut 2.5 by 4.5 as well. Now I'm right here on a seam. A lot of times I will do a back stitch on a seam just to secure it, to make it just a little tighter. It's just a preference thing. You don't have to, but it's just, I like it to do that. Okay, then we're gonna remove our pins, cut our threads, and then we're gonna press this open. And then we're gonna turn it back to where your A, B, C, D, and then we're gonna go E. And so E is going to be 2.5 by 6.5. So they're gonna get bigger as you go. So then your E, this one here, and like I said, I already had some of this done, so I'm having to go back. So we're gonna pin this. Let me pin it. Then we're going to sew our 1/4 inch, and I'm gonna get this on part 3.